Welcome back. We're doing security tech talks again. Tonight, we're going to talk about access control and the tools we love to use. My name's Mick. I'm with Trican Security. I'm here with the famous Jeff Day. Better Days.
What's up, Kingpin?
What's going on? And we're just going to share. I had a few requests for people to talk more about access control. A lot of people are interested into getting into it, starting to do it, offering it. How can they get better at it? And one of the asks was, what are the tools you like to use? What kind of equipment do I need to get started in access control? So that's what we're going to go through today. Some of my favorites. Obviously, there's a million ways to skin a cat, and we're just going to go over just a few of the ones that I use, that Jeff uses, and talk about where it makes sense, where it doesn't make sense, and why we like this particular tool to use. We'll try to identify the tools as we bring them out, but some of them, like I've just been using them so long, I don't know where I bought them or what brand name used to be on them because they're so worn down. But we'll do our best. Jeff is on location in his van, so he's got full access to all the tools that you could ever dream of, and some good ones. I'll start off with one of my, I guess, the essentials. Let's start off with the essentials, right?
Okay.
Let's see what I got here. Now, I will say, this is Milwaukee. We call them a tweaker. It's a very small flat head. Now, if you're getting into access control, you absolutely need these because I think 9 out of 10 head ends, control panels, stuff like that, you're going to need something with a very thin blade in order to get there inside the little connectors. I wonder if I have one here. Sure do. I got a mercury board right here. So I don't know if this will come through very well on the video, but you'll run into a lot of these little Phoenix connectors. And if you notice, they have very thin flat heads to adjust the screws, right? To get these screws tight or loose. If you don't have a tweaker, essential. This thing right here, I like the Milwaukee one because it has a very long, I guess, shaft to it. But there's a lot of good ones out there. Honestly, PDK gives you a nice little multi-set in like every can that they sell. I love those things. I give them away when I can to people who, want to get into access control or new techs, and I say this is a nice tool. Put this in your pouch.
Yeah, Verkada started doing the same thing. They went from a push connector to the screw down, and they do send a screwdriver just like that with their access control consoles. Not as long as the shaft, though, Mick. The Verkada one comes with a short shaft. All right, my turn. I am gonna, and Mick actually taught me this trick. I keep a little just on a magnet here from Cables and Connections. Magnet with just a piece of Romex on it, believe it or not. It's the ground to a Romex. Mick made these for me. They're two of my most prized possessions. But all jokes aside, this has gotten us out of some jams together, hasn't it, my friend from Maryland?
It definitely has. We were sitting there and we didn't have a proper hook, and we found a piece of cable on the floor and improvised.
Just a piece of Romex. You're able to kind of get in there. You can make it 90 degree. You're able to kind of make that strike. It's one of those simple, stupid things that, we won't spend a lot of time on it, but that's that thing, like just that, the difference between getting home and not getting home,
Yeah, for sure.
And I know you got yours too.
Yep.
I'm gonna go twice because that one was kind of a cheapo one.
That was small.
Yeah. So I keep a bag of fishing weights in my van. Um, lead weights. And what I do here is, if I need to, obviously we've all been in those situations where you just got to get a wire from A to B, and sometimes you're able to get from the top but can't get to the bottom. So we'll take a piece of string and we'll tie a fish weight to it, and we'll just drop it down and find it on the way down. You know, this has gotten me out of a lot of jams. Cheap little solution, but it's one of those missing things from a lot of people's toolkits. Just get you a bag of these. Might save the day.
Yeah, I like it.
And
So
I'm just
on
gonna
that same note,
start putting stuff back as we go.
okay.
That's the whole point of me
So
being outside here.
there we go. So on that same note, there's a lot of different companies that make this. It's basically just ball chain. It's got a special little ring on the end. Um, LSD makes them. There's probably a lot of companies make them. This thing is perfect. It doesn't get stuck in a 3/4 inch hole, which is probably one of the holes you use for fishing. You drop this down like at the top of a wall or something like that. And if you have a pre-existing hole where you can't maybe pop a new hole in the drywall, you're trying to avoid, patching, you can drop this straight down, and on the other end, use some sort of magnet like this. This has the magnetic end. Reach into the wall, grab it, and then pull it over to your location. These magnets have saved me. I mean, I'm a huge fan. Yeah, that's the same thing. This one also comes with a hook. I don't know if you can see that. It's a nice tight hook. It'll get you into some really, and it's telescoping. It usually comes as a set, right? It's usually a flexible magnet. I don't know where mine is. A piece of ball chain. Um, this is where if you drill the hole properly, you won't lose it. You can hook it around your finger. That way, when you drop it in the hole, it doesn't drop all the way in the hole. And this has
I like
definitely been really good for, trying to meet a hole that's not exactly in line top to bottom. You can reach around, grab it, stuff like that. I will say with these, be very careful. A lot of people get, I guess they skip a step, and you want to take this, connect it to a wire, and then pull. You want to be careful not to do that because this ball chain here is very delicate. So the minute you get some resistance, it's going to snap. And then you're worse than you were before. It's not that you have to do it again. Now you've got 6 feet less of ball chain and you don't have
Yeah.
enough to make it. So that little Klein pull string you got behind you, Jeff, take that, attach
Yeah.
it to this, pull it up gently, and then if you're going to pull cable, use the pull string.
Yeah. So,
All right.
I mean, always keep a bottle of lube around. That's probably,
Mm-hmm.
as I'm putting things away, I'm finding other stuff we're going to talk about. Yeah, I keep the same thing around, Mick. I'd love to get one with a hook on the end. It would be nice to have a telescoping with a hook. So,
Oh, so you have a magnet but no hook?
yeah, I just got this like pen. It actually it can fit right in the shirt
Yeah.
pocket. It's got a clip on. It looks like a pen, but it's
Yep.
telescoping. But I don't. It's just a magnet on the end. I don't have a hook. That's a nice little feature.
Okay. I'll get you one.
Yeah, give me one of them.
Yeah. I
Let
got you.
we'll go through this whole thing. We'll wind up owning each other things. So I'm sure
All right.
everyone's got one of these. I won't spend a lot of time on it. Just that cat and mouse magnet. You can run it down the wall. So you drop this in a wall, and then you can run this down the sheetrock. Say I'm it's that strong. You get in there. So this could go down the wall with a string, and then you're just running it. It's got like a little skateboard on the end of it. You just kind of run it down the wall. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's gotten me out of a jam in a ceiling more so than it has a wall. The cons to this are, um, it doesn't love insulation, so this isn't going to get down a wall with insulation. This thing is super fat, so to get that strength on this magnet, you got to drill a pretty big hole. It's not for every job, but I will say I had to get across the ceiling once, and this got me through the day. I brought up insulation, so I guess I'm gonna stay on. I keep this this vertical cable bag. I keep these are nice bags. I keep this bag around with all my like bits that go onto my fish sticks, and I keep I got this light, again, kind of fat, but it's got light. It's got batteries in it. It'll help guide the way. Remind me what these are. Remind me these are called again. They are
Threaded?
Oregon threaded.
Threaded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got the machine head, machine screw on one side that threads into your fish stick, and then kind of like a drywall screw on the other end.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like these. I wanted to support the company that made them, but I'll be honest, like they have this in the furniture section right at Home Depot. It's the same exact thing. I don't know. Am I showing it? Yeah, it's like thread on one side, machine screw on the other side. But I grabbed a few of
Is it
these.
the right? Is it the right size to fit in your rod?
Yeah, I mean it is. It's 8/32 screw on one side and a lag head on the other side. It's made for furniture repair. Our hanger bolt is on it. I got it from that section. But the whole reason why I went into this bag is because I said insulation. This is
The whisk.
this is the John Blaze for you. Okay, yeah, you thread it on the end of a fish stick. Does everyone call them fish sticks? I know I've sent
Sticks, glow rods. I've heard
yeah,
glow rods, fish sticks.
yeah. So anyway, you thread this onto the end of the fish stick, and this is able to cut through insulation like butter. And I'm gonna get selfish. I'm gonna stay with one more. Um, you and I talked about this the other day. Take a fish stick with I always try to keep bottles in the truck. I'll tape a bottle to the end of a fish stick, and I'll run it across a cable tray if I have to. So this prevents the anything from snagging. So I'm able to send this bottle maybe 3-4 lengths of fish stick down a cable tray, and I'm able to just kind of push it through. I get just rigid enough where I'm able to kind of go over a hump, and so always a bottle around just for that reason and a few other reasons. But that's that. I know it sounds stupid, but that's gotten me home.
It's actually it's actually a great tip because that bottle is, like you said, it's rigid, but it's also smooth enough where if you hit something, it just glide right over it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Your
it.
turn,
I
brother.
like it. Let's see. All right, so some of my other favorites here. So let's talk essentials, and I'll talk essentials. A good wire stripper, right? A good wire stripper.
I'm laughing because you hated my wire strippers, and I have your pair and my pair in this drawer right here.
Yeah. And I'll tell you why. Because when you're doing doors, you're working with 22 gauge, 18 gauge most of the time. And you're doing a whole lot. You're talking probably 6 conductors at the reader, 2 more conductors at the DPS, maybe 4 conductors at the lock, 2 to 4, and then you're talking about maybe 4 or 6 at the Rex. You're stripping a lot of wire, and that's both ends. You're at the head end at the controller, you're at the door. There we go.
Yeah. So this one, prima donna Mick here, it wasn't moving good enough for him, so he made me go and get him another pair. no regard for WD-40. Couldn't have cared less. Everything's fine. But
Look,
yeah, no, you
I'll
hit
tell
the
you
nail on the head.
the big difference is the spring. That
Yeah.
spring saves your hand. Because if you're literally doing this for hours and hours and hours,
Yeah.
you'll feel it.
And this one doesn't
What
have
do
a
they call it?
spring.
Yeah,
But
carpal
the
tunnel.
reason
That's
why
what
I
they
keep
call
this
it.
one around, yeah, the reason why I keep this one around though is it does have the screw cutters, the holes for the screw cutters. Sometimes you need to just get a screw down a size, and then it's got all your crimper, crimp on ends
Yep.
on it. So I like to have this one. You're right. The spring is key. This one's small, nice and versatile. But and then while we're talking, I know I did a little Instagram post on this once, but I really love this tool from Crescent. It's a set of wire strippers, and
Okay.
you and I are the same age. You know about transformers. Boom!
Mm-hmm.
This guy transforms to a set of linesmans. I mean, we're not talking
Mm,
like we're not talking. I mean, obviously we all probably have 3 or 4 better linesmen than these, but man, if you're going up a ladder and you want to try to minimize what's on your hip, I
yep.
really like this tool. It's got
Yep.
the ability to swap from linesman to stripper. I like this.
Yeah. And I'll say this, right? When you get your stripper or have any stripper you have, make sure it can go down to 22 gauge.
Okay.
Stranded, right? Because a lot of them, like some of them will only have 18. They'll stop at 18. They may go to 20. Not all of them go
Yeah,
down to 22. So when you have one that goes down to 22, it just makes your life easier. Because you could always take the stripper and kind of angle it on an 18 gauge hole and turn
yeah.
it and strip, and you can do pretty well with that. But I mean, if you got one that does it without doing anything special, get it.
That's a
I
great
mean, they're
tip.
cheap. A few
Yeah.
dollars.
No, I just looked right now. I never actually paid attention to that, but these blue ones go down a lot lower than these yellow ones do.
Yep.
Okay.
What's next,
Oh
Jeff?
yeah, my turn.
Your turn.
Well, I know this is a tool that Mick and I both love. He's one of those red guys. I'm one of those yellow guys. But at the end of the day, uh, you know, we both have an admiration for this. The electric file. Man, Mick turned me onto this, and I don't know how I lived without it for so long. Um, Obviously, battery operated. I had a plug-in style one forever, and I never even kept it in the van because I was like, I try not to keep too many plug-in things in here, and it never really dawned on me that I needed this until Mick and I were somewhere, and he was like, "Where's your file?" I'm like, "Well, it's plugged in." And then like I tried to we were some around where we didn't even have power, we're like extension cord. I tried to plug it into one of those like
Punching cord.
battery to yeah, and it didn't work. So I got one of these. I know you have one. This is key. Smoothing out, after you do a rough cut. I mean, we probably are all gonna talk. I guess I'll go try to get that rough cut with like some type of diet grinder. I keep a 3-inch Bad Dog Tools bit on mine. I really like Bad Dog. Diamond crusted blades, wheels. This one's got a little bend to it. Mick and I found that last time we were working together. I probably dropped it, but when you get that rough cut, then you come through, get it with the finish cut. I mean, we all got, there's files in here, chisels, stuff like that. But man, in addition to all of the metal that I've been able to, work on this thing, I actually had to like get in real close once to sand away a notch of tile, believe it or not, just to put a faceplate on at apartment complex we were doing. The backsplash guys put in all the tile, and they covered like the screw for the faceplate, and I was like, man, what am I gonna do here? Like, but yeah, this saved the day. Believe it or not, I was able to just like go right through the tile and was able to sand a little channel right through it. Got me to what I needed to do. So yeah, definitely a versatile tool. Um, you know, gets you in there smooth.
Yeah, and I will say this: when you're cutting indoor strikes, that band file just makes all the difference because you can take that band file and quickly get a nice flat edge and clean up all the cuts to make it nice and clean. Now, I'm gonna that discussion is gonna bring me to my next tool, small essential. So a bastard file with a nice square edge, right? So when we talk about cutting strikes, you make a rough cut and then you clean it up. You clean it up. You don't try to make the first cut the perfect outline of where the strike is supposed to be. You just get really close. I would say like 90%, 97% up to where it needs to be, and then you finish it off with like a file. And this file, the band file is great, but it won't hit a corner because it'll start to tear up. So you take this file and you work the corner with the file, right? You work the corner up and then you turn it and you work the other way, and it'll give you that perfect 90 degree when you're done, where it just makes it where you know you get good at using this, and you start using the goof plate a lot less.
Yeah, I haven't graduated to that yet. I like that goof plate, but um, so here's just like for the traveling man. This is a set of fiberglass fish sticks that really are small. Like they're small. Each one is 11. No, each one is looks like I don't know this big, and you're able to. It gets to 11 feet. So sometimes when you're traveling and you're carrying everything in like a suitcase, this has been nice because it's like a travel set of fish sticks. Usually
Yeah,
the regular ones that I got some on the ledge of the van here, and I think they're probably about 4.5, 5 feet. I think they're that tall, if not more. So you can't really get those on a plane, but if you need to go somewhere, I found this to be an awesome little addition to my collection. Just a travel set of fish sticks that you know get down small. And I know you and I have used these just to have one length of it. Like there have been
yep,
times where we've needed just like a short, rigid piece of fish stick, and it just
yep. To shoot a
yeah,
gap, usually in like concrete block where you need to
yup,
get straight across without drooping.
yes, good point. Yeah, I think that's maybe when we used it. So anyway, nice little travel set of fish sticks. I like these.
Nice. All right. So this is a spring-loaded center punch.
Okay.
Absolutely love this thing for starting holes in metal, right? Because if you've tried to drill a hole in metal and you notice your drill is starting to walk a little bit, and sometimes you have to be precise. You have to be very precise in where that hole is, or something doesn't line up, or it's a quarter of an inch off, or whatever it is. Like that hole needs to be dead on. I like to run this center punch. It's spring loaded, so you push it in and it kind of pounds the hole. Give it two good taps of this, and you'll have a perfect starter to put your drill bit in. And I'd always recommend. I mean, I'm not a drill bit sharpener, but I get very good drill bits, and if they last me a year and I buy more, I'm happy with that. I'm a firm believer in, always come in with the sharp drill bits or you're going to waste your time.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't do it either, but I know a lot of guys who will just keep like a coffee can on their workbench and just toss drill bits in there, and then once a year they bring them to a place that's a couple towns over, and they'll just get all their bits sharpened. I haven't done it, but I know a lot of guys who do. But I hear you. Like you got to try to keep your bits sharp, and that's the one way to do it.
Yep.
Um, I'm just going through the drawer real quick. This is just a fast one. Uh, electric tape measure. Just shoot a line real quick. Gives you a measurement real fast. This has been nice when you're just trying to figure out how much cable you might need for access control. Just real fast. Make sure you have enough. Give you a digital readout. I'm just going through the drawer here, thinking about stuff I've done.
Yep.
So this is probably the tool that started me and Mik's friendship right here. This so he has the Milwaukee version of this. Are we gonna hold them up at the same time? Like
No. I actually left mine in the it's in the
okay,
truck.
so we do a little heart bracelet where I do this, you do that. So this provides voltage, and so Mik and I got the DeWalt version for me. So I keep a bunch of batteries up here. So you plug a battery in, and then you set the voltage that you need. And then, you'd have leads here. Hit the button, and it's actually going to simulate if you had a charge or not. So this is great for diagnosing strikes, making sure that, okay, something doesn't work. Let's put the right voltage on it, and see if we can get this thing to open. And then if not, you have a problem somewhere else down the line. Your strike is good. But this has been a real lifesaver. I've actually used it for things other than access control, little repairs around the house for if I'm working on something that has voltage. It's a great tool, and
I'll tell you one of those stories with that tool, right? So once upon a time, I would just be hooking up little small alarm batteries to get voltage, 12, 24, just, wire them together. And then it was like, when I saw that tool, it was like, oh my God, this is so much better. So interestingly enough, there was a time where there was an access control panel that they advertised to work with 24 volts. Now, if you've worked with access control, you know that 24 volts is never what it reads straight off the power supply. They usually run hot, 25.2, 25.4, because, it's electricity, right? And if you understand it, there's less of it the further down the wire you are. So if you started off with 24 volts, you'd be way under 24 volts at the end of a line. So they run hot. So I powered up this access control panel at 25.2, which was what I was reading, and it wouldn't kick on. I called the manufacturer. They telling me, oh, no, it definitely works on 24 volts. So I took out my cat field tester, and I slowly started to dial down the voltage. And interestingly enough, at 25, it won't turn on. At 24 exactly, it turned on, 24 and under. So it's very weird. So that tool actually got me to be able to diagnose that problem on the fly and finish the service call. And I don't know how else I would have done that. I mean, there's not an easy way to just modify voltage, because that tester goes all the way from, 9.2 all the way up to 25 something. So you can really test all the voltages in between that. DC, obviously, using that one tool. And another thing is, sometimes you'll be contracted to just do the locks, right? So I don't have the head end. It's not even there. I'm there before the head end is even there. So in order for me to install the locking hardware, test it, know that it works, and sign off on the job, I bring that tool with me.
Yeah, that's a good point. I do wish it went down to 6, because there was a time where I was trying to repair my elliptical machine at the house. It would have been cool to drop that by. I mean, it just would have been useful, but I was all amped too. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go get that tool. Mik got me, and then it only goes down to 9.
9.
All
right, let's go through this one. This is a new addition. It's a tracer deep hole marking pencil. Now, the thing I love about this is one, it's a, I don't know if you can see it. I'll try to do it against the white background.
Mechanical.
It's a sharp point, right? It's a sharp point pencil. So it gives you a nice small marking, as well as it's telescoping, right? You can feed out a lot of lead. Now, sometimes you have a hole that's deep inside. And a regular pencil, if you're using one of these, it's too thick. It doesn't fit in the hole. Even worse, one of these, it's never going to fit in that hole. Think of like outdoor boxes, stuff like that. Sometimes they have a little hole deep inside. So you got to kind of like get that in there, mark it, and then pull it out. And the other thing that's nice about this is you can put the lead back in, put it away, and it also has a sharpener in the case. So this is a new addition for me, but this has been well worth the money. I'm going to buy a whole lot more of these.
Yeah, give me one of them.
You want one of these? I got you.
Yeah. So on that point, I mean, I use that shock shot, so I usually try to keep these in the truck at all times. But that's nice too. This is like a gas-loaded little shot of paint that you can shoot through a hole, and so if you got a hole out here, you just go, I'm gonna, and then you can just push it in, and it'll shoot a line. It'll shoot a dot of paint what you need. But it's gonna be a hole. Yours is a lot more precise, what you were just describing. But these are nice. Keep these around. So I was telling, we did a little preview with Nick and I before. I like to keep this in the van. It's a little set of female and male threads. So you got your female on this side, male on this side, and the reason why so this is like a thread finder, but we've all seen those ones that are a big hunk of metal, it's probably about the size of a sheet of paper, and it helps you, you can keep one in your workshop and you can thread stuff into it, and you can thread things onto a post, and oh cool, that's the size of that nut. But, this gets you to be, versatile. Or if I needed to get up here and, bring something with me, I can't go up here with a full piece of metal, like a big plate. I'm able to get in there and really figure that out. So, this has helped me out with different, Mick brought up the tap and die set. This has helped me kind of verify that I'm using the right size screw, because there's times where you will thread something into a strike, or you got the wrong thread or something, and this helps you make sure that you're doing the right, so you don't strip anything. And furthermore, if you got to go to the store and you got to buy some more screws of you got one and you don't know what size it is, this really is helpful. So I've used it in access control, which I know is the point of this little video here, but I use this a lot for regular integrated stuff.
Since you brought it up, I'm going to bring these out.
Yeah, bring it out.
These are little drill and tap sets. They're like little combos. Now, the two that I would say you should have, you need your 1/4-20, the world's favorite screw size.
Yep.
And I would say a 632. Now, why a 632? So if you're mounting a card reader in metal, maybe it's a metal door frame, maybe it's, metal door frame, or even aluminum, right? It's a really nice touch to, let me see if I got a reader here somewhere. Most readers are meant to mount on a gang plate. And even if they're not gang size, they still have the holes to mount on a gang plate. I have a reader here. This is an old I-class. Now, on the back side, they're going to have two holes that fit a 632 screw. So it's a very nice touch to say either it's a metal frame or an aluminum frame, to line up the holes for the card reader and drill and tap them for 632, and then take the screws that usually come in the box for the reader and screw them in, rather than trying to make holes or trying to screw something into aluminum. Because if you've done it long enough, you realize that they don't always hold the best. But when you put in a nice threaded hole and put a 632 machine screw in it, it's beautiful. It's nice. It's tight. You can take it off, put it back in. You're not going to damage it. You're not going to mess up the hole. The hole's not going to strip. It's that extra touch that makes it so much easier for, the next guy or yourself if you have to take that reader down a few times during the troubleshooting phase. So
Right.
This set, these are awesome. I mean, I would say get the set. Make sure you have a 632. Most sets go 832 and up, but get a 632 and make sure you have a quarter 20, because most rim strikes are going to call for a quarter 20 drill and tap.
Yep. That's Mik's most used term, quarter 20.
Secret sauce. That's the secret sauce.
Says that
America's favorite screw.
So Mik turned me onto these.
That's a special one.
Yeah, so it's a real thin fish tape that goes in this like circle. You can really get in there. It's like, keep it all together in here, push it back in. So we got this one, and then we got a more rigid one, fiberglass version of it. Same thing though. So I keep both of these attached to the wall over there. This has gotten us both out of jams where we're able to get in there really thin, make a turn, hook some wire
And the
on.
best part, Jeff, at the end of that is a small circle.
Yep.
Right?
Both
so
ends.
If you had that in a hole, you can use your little your rods or your hooks and grab just that circle.
Yes. Yep, definitely.
And that's been like, that saved the day a few times.
Oh yeah. No, we've definitely gotten out of jams with both. Well, actually, you turned me onto this one, and then I was like, I gotta get the Big Brother too. So, yeah, these are awesome. Gotta have, definitely.
Yeah, and that's just like the layers of flexibility, right? Like they're super flexible with the metal, which is a little weak, and then the fiberglass is like still a little flexible, not as flexible, but a little more sturdy to shoot over a gap.
Right. Because I'll keep like pieces of fish tape that I've cut off, or one of them's like just 8 feet, so it's kind of gotten me out of jams. But I keep all these kind of together on one hook in the van because these are rigid. They'll get the job done, but sometimes they're a little too rigid. These this one especially is able to make a lot of little tight corners and get you out of a jam. This one, similar, but I haven't been able to see a reason to use this big one that these metal tapes haven't gotten me out of. But I could see someday where I would just need a little bit more flexibility, and the fiberglass is going to give you a lot more pliability probably than these metal tapes. But definitely all on the same hook, all in the same family, kind of like Mik and I. They're all brothers.
Yeah. All right. So I'll go with this one. A very simple tool, but very important tool.
All right.
This square is clutch for door work.
Yeah.
Right? When I'm cutting a strike and I don't have a template with me, I use this. I set the depth. I lock it in place. And as I go down the door frame, I am marking as I slide using this, right? So I can get a perfect, 11/16 or a half-inch line back from, and even making turns and corners, the markings, everything like that, the measurement. This thing is pretty much always set to 7/8 of an inch because that's half the thickness of a 1 3/4 inch door. And there's a lot of cuts that you're going to make, especially when you get to like aluminum, that are direct center line of the door, right? So finding the center line and things like that. This right here, if you told me I had to go do doors without this, I'm going to Home Depot and I'm buying a new one. Like, it's that important.
Yeah. I definitely, that's probably when I think about being in the van and like if any of these tools would ever get stolen, that's the one that would break my heart the most because I have my grandfather's in here. It's called a combination square. Yours is a mini combination square. I mean, this is the full 1 foot size one, but man, yeah. Sometimes I know it sounds stupid, but if we're traveling and we go to a hotel, sometimes I bring this into the hotel room with me because it's like out of all the tools in the whole van, this is the one that I would cry myself if I lost.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely combination square. I don't have much left. I just got the door jig. I keep it in a Verkada card reader box, but I'm not as good at cutting strikes yet. So I do rely on the jig. I know Mik can do this almost freehand with his eyes closed, but I do need the jig, and I've been really mad at myself when I forgot this box at the shop. So I try to keep it in the van now. It's hard, right? Like, we have so many tools, and we try to think of everything, and you try to be prepared and leave as many things in the van as possible, but you just run out of room. So I have a really hard time like gauging what stays in the van, what doesn't. But this is now at a permanent home in the van. It's just a jig set. Nothing special, but it's like I said, I'm still not as good at cutting strikes yet, or maybe I just rely on this at this point. But a nice jig guide is key to have. Comes with screws and stuff to tie it into the door, so you can just screw it in and trace out your line with a fine Sharpie or something. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like, it sounds obvious, but have that door jig. It's the difference between being a clean cut and just like a hack. So I like to have that. I pride myself on a job well done at the end.
Yeah.
So it's all about having the right tools.
No, and that's what we're here to talk about. So this one, it looks like just a regular PH1 Milwaukee screwdriver, and it is, except it's the perfect size to fit. And this is a very particular thing. If you ever worked on an Adams Wright push bar, it has holes, and then deep inside the hole is a Phillips. Well, most of your screwdrivers won't fit in there because they're too thick, right? And you can't get that bar off without it. So if I lost this, I'd have to go buy more because I do a lot of Adams Wright aluminum doors. And this is the only screwdriver that I have that fits in that Adams Wright. It's just a little Milwaukee PH1, but it's long and it's thin. And that's what like the secret ingredient is, to get in there, to loosen those screws, to take the end caps off so you can remove the bar. Let me see. I had more stuff in here. All right. Step bit. You're going to make a whole lot of 3/4 inch holes in metal. And this is the way to do it. Step bit. 3/4 inch holes are going to be for your rim strikes, where the wires come through. 3/4 inch holes are going to be for your DPSs. If you're cutting into metal, many DPSs come for a 3/4 inch hole. So this step bit is going to be your friend.
It's 10 o'clock.
There you
Step
go.
by step. Ooh, baby. Gotta get to you, girl.
Now, the other nice touch is a countersink bit, right?
Yes.
If you're doing aluminum, all of your screws that you're putting in should be countersunk.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes in metal, you'll countersink, like if you're putting in the tabs, the mounting tabs in a metal frame, you'll want to countersink them just for a nice, smooth, clean finish. But a countersink bit, absolutely clutch. Definitely part of the must-haves. I know Jeff is going to laugh when he sees this one. Loctite.
Aha.
Loctite blue. If you're doing doors, please Loctite your hardware in place. Blue Loctite, not the red, torch it off stuff, but the blue. Um, it's going to save you. It's going to save service calls. The screws are not going to back out. I don't know what it is about doors, but they always come loose. They always come loose. Keep a little
Mitch
Loctite on you and
bringing
save
up
you a
that
service call.
he's bringing up that joke because we went to the store one time and I really wanted just like the small bottle, and we were out in the middle of nowhere and I had to buy this gallon of it. So it's here. Uh,
Let's see.
I
There's
now
another thing I wanted to. Go ahead, Jeff. I'm going to
no,
prep for
I'm
the
just
next
saying I now have two. It's funny. Like we went from not having any to now we got a gallon and a half.
gallon and a half. All right. So my last one, and this is my preference. So for cutting strikes, there's a lot of people that do a lot of different things. I used to use a Dremel worm saw, um, and I think Abe from Netlion, he was showing me this little. I think it's a 3-inch cutoff wheel. It's an M12, and I used to use the metal oxide blades. Excuse me, but they'll last you like 3 doors and then they're gone, disappeared.
Yeah.
I started using these Diablo Metal Masters,
Oh really?
and yeah, and I think they have diamond on them. I want to say they do, but this blade has lasted me 5 or 6 strikes already, and it's still kicking. So it's definitely a favorite. Now, cutting strikes with this, you really need a steady hand, right? It's not a beginner strike cut. Um, but it's quick. It is really quick. I could get in there and, the strike is in a few minutes. It takes me longer to file it and make it perfect than it does to actually cut it out of the frame. So I use this. This is it's so light, and it's easy to control. So just putting another hand on it and guiding it in there, I like it. It's my preference right now, and I probably switch what I like cutting strikes with every couple years. But this is the current. This is the winner right now.
Yeah, and I do have the DeWalt version of that. That's again one of those things. Like I don't keep it in the van.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna want me to have it one of these days, and I'm not gonna have it. Hmm.
That's all right, but you'll have it from that day forward. So I guess that kind of finishes what I wanted to show, at least for like an opening episode of this. And how about you, Jeff? Did you have more that you wanted to show, or?
No, I kind of made like I tried to do it in the van because things were coming up as we were flowing, but my shelf is empty of all the things that I wanted to talk about. So yeah, we're looking forward to doing a wrap up on this in a week or so, where we can maybe answer questions and try to remember where we bought all this stuff because I'm sure that's probably going to come up. But I know I'll do my best. We just you start collecting tools, you can't really remember where you got stuff, but I'm sure a lot of those questions will come up. Where did you get that? Where did you get this? So uh,
Mm-hmm.
we can do our best, try to remember where we got stuff. But um, other than that, we really enjoy doing these. Like my man Chuck says, knowledge is power. So we try to make sure that any of these tips that we can help you out with to get you through the day, we're here to help.
Yeah, yeah, and as Jeff just mentioned, we're going to do a live Q&A on Instagram from the Tech Knowledge Worldwide page. Um, you'll get an opportunity to jump on live. We'll stay on for maybe an hour or so and answer any questions you might have and chit chat or just kick it about doors and tools and things like that. Um, if you're not already a member of Tech Knowledge Worldwide, I highly recommend you DM their Instagram page. They'll send you a link of where to sign up. It's completely free to join. It's just a community of like-minded people helping each other and trying to elevate our games, making each other better.
Yep, we do a once a year charity project where we find a nonprofit and we give them a full technology makeover, which includes a lot of the stuff that we talked about today. Doors, we do a lot of access control in these charity projects, intercoms, Wi-Fi, cabling, audio-visual. We did a lot of it the last one in Baltimore. So it's really important. It's kind of that common thread that brings us all together is giving back to the communities that help shape us. So we're really excited to springboard into our next charity project coming up. We're going to start taking applications and um, select our next charity project for in the fall. So
Yep,
we're really looking forward to that.
yep. Be nice to get the gang back together again and do some installing in fall of 2024.
That's right, Kingpin.
All right. I think we've gone through what we can today, and look forward to talking about some of this stuff in the IG live. And we had your attention for all this time, and I appreciate that. And Jeff, tell them where they can find you.
You could find me at Better Days Tech on Instagram. And like Mick said, I'm also in charge of the membership committee at Tech Knowledge. So when you go ahead and fill out that form, you'll be hearing from me. If you're not already a member, we'll get you signed up and point you in the right direction. And how about you, Mick? Where are they finding you?
I'm on Instagram. I'm always at Trican Security, and I love hearing from people, having them ask me questions. You can DM and you know some chit chat, but mostly like questions of what to do and what do I see, and happy to help wherever I can.
All right, Mick. Good seeing you.
All right, till next time.
Till next time.